Ready? All right. I want to welcome everybody to September 18th, 2018 meeting. It's officially 6:02. I cannot call this meeting to order at this time. We're waiting on one more to have a quorum. I would like to go ahead with our invocation and pledge that Pastor Jason Dillard from United Methodist Church is going to open us up, and then we're going to have an informal work session. We're going to start with the fire chief and EMA director after that.
All right, thank you. We'll stand, let's bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we live in a community where we can still pray before government meetings. Father, we thank you for this town. We thank you for this county. God, we remember that every person in this room is here to work for the betterment of all of our lives and where we live and where we work and where we play. We ask that all of our speech tonight would be filled with grace and truth, and we would have compassion and understanding for each other. And God, more than anything else, give wisdom and discernment to those that we've elected to make decisions. Father, guide them in your spirit and in truth. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
You'll join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We want to thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Like I said, we don't have a quorum yet, so we can't call it a meeting order, but I figured at this time we're going to put Don on the spot and let you come up here and start a little informal work session about what's been going on lately and where we're leading to resolve any issues that's taking place.
Can everybody hear back there?
You didn't know I was going to put you on the spot, did you?
No, sir.
I figured you do.
I almost didn't make it tonight. First and foremost, I wanted to let you guys know that our SCBAs were delivered on time before the 15th. We in-serviced 140 some odd members that firefight, and the SCBAs are now on the apparatus and they're in service. Okay. So we made the deadline, which was the last day of this month, and everything worked out fine. We are very proud to have what we have, and thank you. And I know the volunteers the same. Sure. Thanks a whole lot. I guess I could go back to last evening to start with this. We can't talk about the mutual aid agreement, can we, at this point? I
was going to ask for it to be put on the agenda because of time restraint.
Okay, all right. I received a call last night from a concerned citizen that there was a child down at the 18th complex last night. And I don't know if it was football, baseball, whatever it was, but it doesn't matter. Shortly before that, there was a call that was paged out for an unconscious child down by the goalpost, is the way they put it out. The page came out, the first page came out at 2000, that is 8 o'clock. The second page came out at 2001. And that's normal procedure. We always tone it out twice. We had, from what I can hear, I was 2 rooms over from my portable radio at home, and I heard one person go en route. At 2006, page comes out again. Says all rescue units 1022, which means disregard. The patient's going by POV. Meaning going by private vehicle. Excuse me. So wasn't long after that I got a call from Keith Isley, Chief Isley, and he was the current concerned citizen. That he had gotten word that the folks out there at the park had found out that the medical center did not have a unit in service at the time, that there was not an ambulance in the county. Now, it's been an hour or so since there was another call, so probably at the hospital, on the wall, or whatever. Anyway, the folks that were at the park, I don't know if somebody had a radio like sheriff or a PD guy or whatever may have called and asked for an ETA. Now this is what I'm gathering. Wouldn't you think this is what might have happened, Keith? Somehow somebody heard radio. Somebody asked for an ETA of an ambulance, because they do post out there. Law enforcement does. So they probably said on the radio that there was not an ambulance available immediately. So that's when the parents picked up the child and took them right on, and then they 1022'd us. Right. So on the ambulance end, I don't know how we could help that better. I think they're doing a pretty good job by posting. They're staying in downtown Gray. But when they get caught up in the busyness of us, we're running between 15 and over 20 calls a day now. And that's just on the rescue side. And I think sometimes they do get caught up in a whirlwind, and they're out of the county at the hospital delivering the patient they just picked up from Gray. So I'm not sure how much we can help on that, but we're at this time, myself and Chief Isley are trying to come together, our memberships, to figure out how we can provide more and better coverage when it comes to rescue. Now, it's true enough that we can only provide basic life support in our scope of practice, but still, with somebody that's certified out there, even just holding a hand or hoping an airway, or just somebody to be there that can console and do first aid would help out a whole lot. Because the ambulance guys do a tremendous job. There's no doubt about it. But we've got to find a way to address this a little bit better, of more people responding. Now, I know I heard a voice respond, but I don't know where it was coming from. But it wasn't momentarily after that. The 911 center 1022 this, which means disregard. Go back home.
Don, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I understood that the medical or Navison Health was going to have 2 ambulances in Jones County. Did that ever start? Did it stop?
No.
Was there not 2 then?
They keep one in downtown Gray, and then they keep one on the South Jones Bibb zone right there at the county line. So they call that one on the south side and one in downtown Gray. And that's a perfect world right there. But you got to remember, it only takes that one call, and it throws everything out of sync. And then they'll try to pull one up into Gray, and then it doesn't take another 30 minutes, we may get a call. It seems like sometimes, a lot of times, that these calls come in pairs. And I can't, to save my life, I couldn't, I don't know why it is like that, but it seems like it does. And the worst times, when you got a child down, I mean, it's one thing you've got anybody down that's unconscious, but a child, typically the rescue would come out the woodwork, but last night they didn't. I know that there was one response, but it was pretty quick, 1022. So, but that's still beside the point. Those people knew out there that there wasn't an ambulance available immediately. Now, I know that Collins was up here a week or 2 ago, the last meeting. I know he's the helicopter man, but he is in charge of Jones County sector for the ambulance service. Is this true? It is? Okay. I wanted to make sure on that. I've been out of the business for 10 years now from down there, so a lot of things have changed. I'm going to sit down with him and see if we can't do better. We've got to do better. If we don't, we're going to have to look at this whole thing, the big picture down the road,
Now I got another question.
Yes, sir.
When the ambulance in Gray left, why did the one at the southern part of the county not rotate to Gray?
I can't answer that unless they had a call in Macon.
So there were no ambulances in Jones County.
There was none at the time that the child was down.
I think we need an answer.
That's what I'm getting at.
Not just
Is
speculation. We need an answer.
They can give me a photo shot of everything that was going on at that time and where they were at and why they were there. So if the one at Gray was still stuck in another hospital, and where was the other one? Was it on a call in Bibb County or in Twiggs County? It'll tell me all of that. And I can have Hanson come back and explain what happens at these times that we're left wide open. This is not the first time it's happened, and I'm not pointing at fingers. I know how busy it is. But when it comes to Jones County people doing without, then that's a different story. I'm sorry. I think there needs to be answers. I agree, sir. But until then, I charge myself and Chief Isley to do better and getting our folks out there and responding. Everybody in this county deserves service and service delivery. I'm crazy about that. It drives me crazy because I can't serve enough. But I think that we're on the right track. I know this wasn't our fault last night. We know we had a response, but it somehow got out to the people that there wasn't an ambulance and available at that time. But I think both of us had sat down today trying to talk something out to make this thing better. We'll always need an ambulance service. We always will. But we need those first responders too. We've got a first responder class just started last week. And I think I've got 8 or 9 seniors from the high school that started in it.
That's great.
I've even gone to the high school to try to get some help from them and see if we can get those guys straight out of high school. I think there's 17 or 18 that's in the class. So we'll have some more hitting the streets here in 12 weeks. So any other questions? I can keep going. I charge that we need to find a remedy for this. Right. But first of all, I need an answer why and how it happens and what would be the suggestion to make this thing better as far as the ambulance side.
I'm glad to see the county and the city working together, as one to come to a solution, come to to resolve this, that we can work together as a community like we are to make sure that the services are being handled.
Yes, sir.
And I know you said y'all have already been talking on ways to do that.
We met today about just the same subject. Right. And that's how we can do better on the rescue end. Fire end, we're together, but we need to figure out how we can do a joint venture. We've got the supplies, we've got the O2, we've got the rigs. We just need some more people.
Right.
I think we've wore everybody out.
And we've got the automatic aid on that, and it couldn't include the rescue too.
It does. It does. Yeah. Yeah. I also got. I finally got Monroe County on board yesterday, so he hand delivered yesterday. So that took a minute.
Right. Putnam County actually approached me a while back about possibly working together, and I don't know if it's I think they were in more need of us. Not that we wouldn't be willing to help. I think they were in more need of us than we were, because they on our side of the county they tend to have a.
Shane knows that all he's got to do is pick up the telephone, and we would be there. He knows that.
Right. Well, this was commissioners I was talking to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't talk to the
fire chief.
the fire chief. This was actually commissioners wanting to know if it thought there could be a possibility, and I just told them I didn't see why we couldn't work together.
Right.
Joining communities, that's what we need to do.
That's how grants are given. I'm working on a grant right now. The grant is not open, but I've got some ideas. I sat down with the GEMA director last week and had lunch with him, and he gave me some good ideas because there's some money out there that could be had by Homeland Security. Well, it don't have to be guns and knives and stuff like that. Other things that we can do for the community that he gave me some good ideas on, that we can help Putnam, Monroe. Bibb is a little bit tougher going in on their turf. We want to get them over on our side. Now they'll come if we ask them, but I'm trying to get something written there too.
Sure. If we had automatic with Bibb too, that would be great. 'Cause, I mean, it's again working together through the community.
Yes, sir.
Joining community. You got anything you'd like to add to that?
He pretty much summed it up. Like I said, we met today. We are trying to mitigate the issue with the medical. That way we get a response on the ambulance situation. And fortunately, when they do get very busy, then they do pull trucks and just like any other service. So we are trying to mitigate the situation on that.
Sounds great. Any questions? Sounds great. Commissioner Kitchen just let me know he is just now leaving Macon, so he's on the way. But we've got opportunity. If y'all don't have anything else, anybody else have any concerns or thoughts, or they'd like to come forward and have opportunity to speak at this time? No, we're trying to wait to have a quorum so we can open up the official meeting. I think Commissioner Robinson's the first time he's ever been in a meeting without a full quorum. So always a first for everything. Anybody else like to come forward, Ms. Branson?
Does it matter what the subject matters?
No, ma'am. Come on.
Before we address this, tell them what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just a question. I'm Marlene Lord.
Yes, ma'am.
77 Joycliff Circle. I live across the street from Mark James'
Yes, ma'am.
house under construction. And we were confused, or perhaps we misunderstood the date. The deadline was set for Mr. James to be told that he must remove the bus stop.
Tomorrow.
I know that 2 words, bus stop, says.
Right. I checked on it yesterday. I actually drove by there to see if it was still there, and it was.
Uh-huh.
I called and inquired about it, and I think by rules or regulations, he was allowed a 5-day extension, which is tomorrow.
Oh, I thought it was Monday was the 5-day extension was up.
Well, I don't know. I checked, but Tim was out sick, and I was getting that from the second hand. So, but my understanding it's got to be moved by tomorrow. And because I rode by there yesterday, just curiosity if it had been moved, and I saw it hadn't been, and I called and inquired about it because I knew today would be a question asked as far as somebody, when's it going to be moved, and that's what I did.
I don't think it's going to be a very amicable discussion when it happens. He's got guards spending the night there, or guards sitting in the doorway, just sitting there. Nobody's actually working on the property. Nobody,
Right.
of course, has touched the bus stop. But I mean, it appears that he feels like it needs to be guarded, or he's trying to make sure that nobody does anything that he's not approving of.
Sure. Well, my understanding is if he doesn't move it tomorrow, a stop work order will be placed on the property. Did check on other things that he was wrote up on. My understanding, he has removed the plumbing from the house on the additional kitchens, which was required because he had, he couldn't have the additional kitchen. It's my understanding he has moved the additional plumbing. The only thing hadn't been taking place up as of yesterday when I came by was the building was still there. But if it's not moved, if I'm not mistaken,
Mr.
it a stop work order issued at that point.
He will, yes, sir. That's my understanding.
I'm sorry.
If it's not moved tomorrow, a stop work order will be put on the property, meaning he can't do any more additional work till he complies.
To the entire property.
That's right.
All right. And not another. Oh, I know Mr. Petrosky was interested in seeing what the plumber did when he removed the plumbing.
Sure.
He said there might be a way just simply to for it appear to have been removed, but simply maybe the sheetrock in front of it. Anyway, I was just wondering if Mr. Petrusky got a chance to actually inspect the removal of the plumbing.
Well, I understand he's looked at it. See, at this point, the inspection process, he wouldn't be allowed to have sheetrock in it yet because he'd have to get the mechanical inspection done without the sheetrock.
But he was talking about a way of ending the plumbing so that it could be easily just plugged back in again.
And like I said, Tim, I feel certain he's going to make sure everything's done within code. And I mean, if everybody got to understand, if he follows the rules and he does what he's required, he can go forward with what he's doing. But again, he has to follow the rules. And if that building's not moved, that's when a stop work order will be issued, and he won't be allowed to get any more inspections.
I think this demonstrates that he's rather combative regarding the construction. Of course, we're a little combative too in trying to remove it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Branson, you want to come forward? You didn't have to raise your hand. I could. Hey, Daylon, you want to say? Can you hear me, Daylon?
I can hear you now. Does he have to engage in tomorrow for noon or close the business?
I think it would be the close of business tomorrow. If it's not moved, it's got he'll have a stop work order after that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I could see you were wanting to speak. You didn't even have to raise your hand.
Well, I just have one quick question. I wanted to know if Mr. Frank Childs has made a decision about the cross.
No, ma'am, not yet. But as I told
Still working on it?
And as I told you at the last meeting, I expect it'll be probably at the first Tuesday meeting in October, which is 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay.
I know Mr. Petrusky had a recommendation he was going to make to the P&Z board about some changes. I think that's going to be probably done pretty much at the same time.
Yeah, I understood that he mentioned that after the last meeting. But we thank you for your kind attention and allowing us to ask a couple of questions, because we're very curious about, what's going on. It seems like, as Ms. Lord mentioned, he's very defiant.
Sure.
And seems determined to do things as he wants to do them.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, if I may say,
sure,
too, along the lines of the last question about, I'm not so sure that if the bus stop's not moved at the close of business tomorrow, that's the end of it. I think he would have probably till midnight. I think the day would extend to, so if you're out there at 6 o'clock tomorrow and it's still there, and I have no idea what his plans are. I've never discussed it with him about anything out there. But at 6 o'clock, I don't know if he'd do anything later. If it gets to be 5 or 6 o'clock, I'm not saying he would or wouldn't. But I think it would be midnight before that day is over, giving him the day to get it done.
Well, close of business for us to enforce it would be 5 o'clock.
That's correct. But if he's out there after 5 and does something and he complies with it, then of course he could proceed on.
Okay.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else with any comments, concerns? Commissioner Kent just let me know he was leaving Macon, so he should be here in a little bit. We'll be able to start our public meeting. We'll have a quorum at that time. Ms. Debbie, what you think? Yes, Commissioner Martin is on the phone, but we've got to have actually a bodily quorum to be here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Tom Baird. I live out on Royal Coach Drive, right around the corner from Mr. James's property.
So, what was your name again?
Tom Baird.
Aaron?
Baird, B-A-I-R-D. And I know some of the meetings we've had about that, some of the participants had wanted to know, should we hire an attorney, to argue our case, but I guess you got Mr. James over here and you've got us over here, and we got the rules and regulations and the codes and ordinances and God knows what in between the two of us.
Sure.
But my position is we don't need to hire an attorney. We got you guys. Y'all the ones who draw up the rules and regulations and the ordinances and sign them and approve them and adopt them, and you have an understanding of how they all apply to whatever situation might be. So I'm just curious that you got our backs.
I'll promise you, sir, we back the planning and zoning office 100% in enforcing these rules and regulations. This entire board does.
Right.
And that's what we're here for, to make sure policies, to set policies, but also make sure policies are being followed. And I'll assure you, this board supports our planning and zoning office 100% to make sure that, all these rules and regulations are followed. And we got Attorney Childs to make sure we do it properly and legally, so we don't get ourselves in trouble and cost us some unnecessary expenses where we might have made a mistake.
When they were doing, I guess they told him to take the plumbing out in regards to the 3 extra kitchens he had.
Sure.
Those 3 kitchens, were they in that back? Were they in the back building back there?
I don't know, sir. We've never been on the property. Our planning and zoning officer found a violation and brought it to his attention. He was required to remove them.
I've seen the plans for the original 5, the front, sure. And there's no room in there for anything other than the bedrooms and the bathrooms and the kitchen and a living. So I'm thinking that it had his 3 bedrooms or 3 kitchens in that building out back, in the additional building. Well, if that's the case, that implies maybe he's got 3 more families living out there. And, his septic system is only sized for a 5-bedroom house, and which does not take into account of the probable 3 bedrooms that he's got in the back.
Sure.
Does anybody know how many bedrooms there are in that entire compound?
No, sir, we don't. Like I said, we entrust our planning and zoning officer to.
He doesn't know. I talked to him about that. Nobody knows how many. Nobody's been in that building out there. And a question along those lines is, what constitutes a bedroom? If you got a 15 by 15 square foot living area, what's to stop it from being a playroom or a media room or anything? Could it also be called a bedroom? Does it take the addition of a structure that could be a closet? Does that have to be to be a bedroom?
I don't know what constitutes. I don't know what constitutes a bedroom. I really don't.
Right.
Well, I should know. I've got a commercial general contractor's license, but I've never sit there and never had to answer the question, what constitutes a bedroom? So I know with HUD regulations, it has to have a closet to be called a bedroom, right. But entertainment rooms have closets too. So I don't know what residentially what.
So HUD requires there be a closet, and if you go in there and find a closet in a room, you'll assume that it's a bedroom.
If you have a HUD inspected house, which is it, but I just know a HUD inspected house would qualify a bedroom as being, having a closet in it, but this HUD doesn't have anything to do with this
right.
one. This is local ordinance and the bathrooms and.
So during the inspection of the property back there, would Mr. Petrowski go in that second building back there and make a determination as to how many bedrooms are in there?
His main thing was the kitchens, because kitchens would also extend out to another, multiple family.
Right.
That was the main rules as far as what's in the books, as far as he had to remove the plumbing for those kitchens. And like I said, it was my understanding as of yesterday, talking to Mr. Petrowski's new assistant, that at this point he has complied with everything that was required of him other than moving the building.
Right.
I know it's frustrating, and I promise
it is. I do not trust the guy. I mean, just because you take the 3 kitchens out of that building back there doesn't mean he's not going to have people living in it, and they'll just come over to the kitchen in the first building and eat there, people have said he's pretty defiant, and I just think he just thought he was going to come out here to Jones County and hoodwink and bewilder a bunch of hicks at the Planning and Zoning Committee and get what he wants done, and just do it without having to pay any attention. But I think the longer he's working, the more vested interest he's getting in that property, the more money he's got in it. I just see it being a really hard thing for Planning and Zoning and county commissioners to go out there and say, well, sorry, Mr. James, you got to tear that down, whatever it is.
Sure, we support our planning and zoning, and I have full confidence. I worked with Tim a lot in the past before I was in this position, and he's always been professional by the book.
Right.
And I feel very comfortable saying that that's the only path he will take.
Right. Well, I just feel like somebody dropped the ball on the reviewing the plans. Nobody ever saw any plans for that second building back there. No one. Tim gave him a permit to build it.
All right.
It's pretty scary.
Yes. I tell you, if you'd like to, I'd be glad to give you, I don't have one on me now. I'd love to give you one of my cards that if you ever need a call, I'd be glad to sit down and talk with you too on a one-on-one basis. I've got them in the office. I don't have it right now, but I'd be glad to sit down with you anytime and talk to you about it.
Okay. Ken, Tony Widener?
No.
No? Yeah, that's all I got. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for coming.
Sure.
Anyone else? Well, we're waiting on Commissioner Kitchens. Anybody can sing? Miss Debbie? No, well, it was worth a try.
Don't look at me to sing.
I just wondered if you could sing.
No.
I know Jerry can't.
No.
Everybody, we got the fair coming up the 2nd. We had a good fundraiser with Demian Jones concert. I think he had $16,400 some odd dollars I saw on Facebook that he raised for the school, and Lions Club has $3,700 concession stand money, so that is $20,000
To add to that?
to add to that. I think our check goes directly to the school. We had $3,700 we had raised in the concession stand. I think he had right at 2,000 people. It's the largest crowd I've seen in 3 years. And to go to the special needs group, that's great.
Mr. Gibson said over the past 3 years that he's given over $60,000 to the schools.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
Right. It's like the Lions Club give every bit of their profits to the special needs also. So that'll help them on anything they can need extra. It's this day and time, everybody can use a little extra money to help on several projects. The special needs was a great program this year. But everything, like I said, putting in a plug the 2nd, we've got fairs coming up. I will be cooking after the 2nd. Fry Daddy, gourmet French fries will be available once I take the seat after having a meeting on the 2nd.
I believe you did that last year, didn't you?
Oh, in the year before. I've been the Fry Daddy for 4 years now, I think. Tell everybody I've got the best gourmet French fries going. I don't know what I do to them. That's self-proclaimed. Nobody's complained yet, though.
Everybody needs to come on down to Station 8 Saturday. We're doing our barbecue.
That's right. I'll be out of town. Thought I would be there. Here we go. Guess who's running down the hall? Now. Commissioner Martin, you still with us? Commissioner Martin.
Still here.
All right, Commissioner Kitchens, just sit down. I like to call this meeting to order.
So I'm still here.
Okay, all right. I'd like to call this meeting at 6:35 to order. I need approval agenda at this time.
So moved.
Motion is second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. We've already had our invocation pledge, so we're going to go into the consent agenda and approval for minutes. We start off with a work session on August 30th, 2018 at 4 o'clock. We had a call meeting on August 30th, 2018 at 6 p.m. Public hearing at August 30th, 2018, 6:15. Our first Tuesday, September 4th, 2018, 4 p.m. executive session, September 4th, 2018 at 7:05, and the call meeting, September 6th, 2018 at 6 p.m. Everybody had an opportunity to look at the minutes? If so, I need approval of this.
So moved, Chairman.
Second. Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. In no business, we're going to go into new business. Bids for bulk purchasing. I had this put on the agenda. We have several departments that end up every year going over their maximum purchase amount on different products such as rock, culverts, chemicals, so on. I think in the best interest of the county, we need to look at these products and put in all the departments, whether if they extend beyond this. I don't know any other ones I could think of, but that's just an example. I think we need to look to bid them out on a yearly contract. Two things: give us a set price for the year, plus give us an opportunity to bid it out to see that we're getting the best best bang for our buck. And like y'all's permission and a motion to give our administrator opportunity to go over these products and let's put them out for bid.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Still with me, Commissioner Martin? Commissioner Martin? You still there? Commissioner Martin, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Commissioner Martin? All right, we've lost Commissioner Martin.
For the record, I guess, Chairman, just 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah, just a call.
Sure. New business. We got Early and Hamilton Planning and Zoning Board. Commissioner Robinson, you had that on your.
You got us now, Commissioner?
I do.
Okay.
I'm in Alabama.
You're in Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, you got both hands on the steering wheel, right? All right, I know that answer. Commissioner Robinson, this was your.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, Ms. Earlene Hamilton is serving on 2 boards, and one is the Planning and Zoning Board, and the other is the Historical Preservation Committee. Since we started enforcing, I don't know if we just started enforcing or if we came up with a policy of can only serve on 1 board. Not too long ago, we had someone serving on 2 boards, and she was allowed to finish out the terms and then stay on the board that she wished to stay on. And I think it should be the same way with Ms. Hamilton. And her passion is with the Historic Preservation Committee, and she wants to come off of the Planning and Zoning Board when the term expires.
Sure.
So, and I'd like to make a motion that she be permitted that, and that in the future, if this were to come up, that it be applied the same way.
Sure.
I'd ask the same question, Chairman. I didn't. If a term ends in the middle of it, we've only got a couple of situations where there are people serving on 2 different boards, and if one ended, does the other one finish out that term, or is it automatically removed from that board at that time? And if we've set a precedent and done that in the past, I think she's doing a good job, and I wouldn't. I'm good with her staying on the board.
Sure.
Until the end of the term, and then we're not able to serve on 2 boards.
All right. So you're seconding that, and just for discussion, favor. Yeah, I think we found out by research that you cannot serve on 2, and it's just correcting the wrongs in the past and going forward with it. So we had a motion to second. No more discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman.
What? Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, Dalen. Was it too quick?
In the past, or at least 2 meetings ago, we placed a constituent on one of the boards that Ms. Sunset Hears was interested in. We did suggest that she would be able to be placed on another open role, which was this role. That's my understanding. So that would be my objection. Ms. Sunset Hears was petitioned or set up to go on another board, but declined that opportunity. I proposed to decline that opportunity so she could have this one. So I think we have the constituent that's ready, willing, and able. And for that reason, I think we ought to honor that and allow her to participate in another Hamilton and focus on health.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Martin. Anything else? All right. Have no old business. Department heads. Don, I put you on the spot, are you?
I did. I just wanted to advise Commissioner Kitchens, thank you for the support purchase of the SCBA's. They're online now and they're engaged. So thank you very much.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Mr. Risner? I'm mighty quiet tonight. You got lucky tonight, didn't you?
I did. I'll mention three things real quick. One, we've got we've been rolling out the vendor registry system for our procurement efforts, and we've got somewhere between 150 and 200 vendors now registered in our system, and so they receive notices when something goes out for bid that pertains to their trade, and so we've along those lines, we've been working with the Board of Education. They use the same system. A couple months ago, we hosted a Doing Business with Jones session, and we've got another one of those planned for Friday. So we've emailed information out to all our vendors and hope that they'll be able to attend that. The second thing I was going to mention is we're happy to report that we received a spay and neuter grant award from the Georgia Department of Agriculture, and I'll be going in the next week to the ceremony to accept that. I think it was about $3,000 that we'll be able to use to spay and neuter animals here in Jones County. And then the last thing I was going to mention is you'll recall many months ago, maybe last year, we received an award from the ACCG Civic Affairs Foundation for the GCAPS program, and the award was to ramp up that program. We've been working closely with a small group and the Chamber of Commerce, and we've actually combined our efforts. The Chamber of Commerce had been interested in doing a youth leadership program for some time, and so a lot of the material that they were going to cover was similar in nature to what we would cover through GCAPS. So we've combined efforts, and we'll have our first GCAPS group starting later this month. So we're excited about that.
All right, that's it. All right, we'll start with Commissioner comments. Commissioner Martin, you want to start us off since you're on the phone?
Sure. With regard to boards, we do have a population of people, I think, that are ready, willing, and able, and I think we ought to start cycling in other people, so they can get their feet wet, learn, and contribute, so they don't get discouraged by being on the outside of the process. Congratulations to Don on getting that equipment rolled out. I look forward to the partnership, collaboration with the city and our neighbors to help with our increased effectiveness out there in the field. And in light of Florence passing us by, just thanking the Lord that we didn't have an experience spreading our county and our constituents. Thank you.
Amen.
Commissioner Kitchens?
First, let me apologize to everybody. I know y'all's time is just as important as everybody else's, and I sincerely apologize for being late.
But you received an award tonight. You want to tell us what you got? Didn't you get honored for something tonight?
So American Public Works Association, it was a state award for community involvement in my other position. So the spay and neuter grant, I hope we'll go ahead and start a full-on campaign to advertise that and make sure that we spend every dime of that and some. So good job on that. I echo Commissioner Martin's. Glad we got the equipment online. I also want to say the sidewalk projects we got going on between 18 and on Gray Highway around Ingalls, it's getting a lot of notice, and I think it's going to be huge. The connectivity and from neighborhoods into our core where they can stop and shop, and also getting our bikers and walkers off the street onto the sidewalk. So that's a good thing.
All right. Commissioner Robinson?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say how proud I am and how proud Jones County is of our chairman. I think you do a phenomenal job.
Oh, well, thank you.
You got the energy of 10 people. Somehow you can be in 2 places at one time. And with your phones, you can be at 4.
You said it right with phones.
Yeah, but people just don't know everything that the chairman is involved in and how hard he works and the diligence that he has and the character. Everything about him is what Jones County needed, and we're blessed.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I didn't expect that, but thank you very much. Mr. Childs, you anything?
No, sir.
Well, we need a motion to adjourn and go into executive session for personnel.
So moved, Chairman.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye? Aye. Thank you. I appreciate the comment. I didn't expect that.
Please. This is something I need to pay for you.